What's going on, everyone? Hope you've all had a good weekend. So, I'm almost back to the 50K mark after being in some drawdown back in July. I'm trying to downsize slightly and focus on the bigger moves, trading my levels, which have played out pretty nice this week. I just wasn't able to capitalize as good as I could have, but that's what I'm going to go over. So, the first trade I took this week, I was looking to go long on a break above the 312s. Both the ES and the NQ were ripping and the momentum was strong. I wanted to see if ES could test its daily 20 and the 40s where that pivot point was, but really I just wanted to get my 20 points pushing into the 30s. NQ ripped 100 points straight up to its next resistance zone that I had, and it started slowing down. So I just took what profits I did have, but NQ found a bounce and ripped through that zone, pushing up to its daily 20 and its pivot point, which helped push the ES to the 30s where I had my take profit at. The second trade, I was looking for shorts under the 50s. I didn't like that I was shorting into the daily 20, but on the bigger time frame, it looked like it wanted to pull back. So I still went short even though I didn't like it. It unfortunately bounced and swept my stop pretty quick, and I started questioning if it was a trap for the shorts and it was going to reverse. But it just wanted to consolidate a little more before the move. So I was just a few minutes early on that trade, and it was my fault for not re entering. The third trade for this week, they did trap me, and I was looking for shorts under the 30s. We were rejecting the daily 20 and my 55 zone overnight and started to break below VWAP in my zone I had at the 33s. My thoughts were it wanted to come back and test the overnight lows back at the 312s for a healthy correction. I think Trump had come out and talked about tariffs on India, which shot the market up to my next zone for both the ES and the NASDAQ, and they both started rejecting. So, in a quick split second decision, I swapped to the micro NASDAQ and I went short for my fourth trade, thinking I'd be able to capitalize a little more than I would have on ES. I wanted the NASDAQ to pull back to the daily 20, and if it could, pull back to those 190s. But it started to slow down around the 50s and the daily 20s, so I just took one off and let one run. Once price broke below the daily 20, I trailed my stop, aiming for those 190s, but it took me out before it made it down there. The last trade I took this week was the longest and the most exhausting. I was in this trade for over an hour while the ES was trying to break down and the NASDAQ was trying to go higher. Finally, after an hour of waiting, it looked like I was finally going to get my move, but the NASDAQ gets bought up and pushed the price of the ES right back to my entry, where I had my break even stop sitting because we were only a few points from reaching my take profit. Luckily, I was just scaling out. Before it took me out completely at break even, and all that waiting was for absolutely nothing. But I checked the charts later that day to see it did test my entry price again, and then it went past my take profit and the daily 20. I was basically done trading after seeing that. So that's it for this week. Slightly green, which is better than being slightly red. So until next week, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated.